teamless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League. Europa.
Viktoria Plzeň 1, Manchester United 2. Oh, thank God that's over with, right? Is that how we're all feeling? My goodness me. It was not pretty. It was not a good watch. It's a win, so it means we go up to 5th. It just feels like every game, any beliefs that you have are just completely reinforced, aren't they? And I remember, look, obviously we've got the win. So you want to have this thing where you try and balance it as much as you possibly can. But I remember this morning, Flex and myself were talking about Andre Onana quite a lot. And I remember some of the comments were very, I can't believe you're saying this. How dare you? That was last season, these mistakes. That was this, that was that. Here we are again. Do we never learn this thing? Marcus Rashford started, came off, shocking, absolutely shocking. There are bright sparks, obviously. Ahmad was better once he moved up further wide. Obviously, Rasmus Hojlund gets his goals. The second one, in particular, is a fantastic finish. I think Mount did well when he came on, but that story that came out about certain players that were unsellable, I was a bit surprised when I saw Andre Onana's name on there, because I thought to myself, well, unsellable. I don't know about that. There's only a few players in that team that I could genuinely describe as unsellable, and I could probably count them on one hand, to be honest. And even then, I probably have some fingers left over, because there aren't many. And look, it's the way. First time I think we won away. I saw away in Europe in 20 months, up to 5th in the Europa League. Last team that won at Viktoria Plzeň were Barcelona. So I know there's many away you could dress it up, but still, it's not good. Like it's not good, and there is a lot of work to do. And Ruben Amorim, you probably saw on the through the pictures, looked frustrated is an understatement. I think with every game he realizes the magnitude of the task he has on his hands at Manchester United, because it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of transfer windows, and it's not going to be good. Big up Clovis. Now, this is one of the people I saw actually today in the comments. Yeah, so we're talking about it. He said, "Onana had a stinker today. Bad day at the office. Everyone was bad today, but you can't blanket it. You can't blanket it to absolve you of making an error. That's the danger when you do stuff like that. You go, Andre Onana, yeah, he had a stinker today, and you can talk about it individually. He had a stinker. You could talk about a lot of players had a stinker today. Marcus Rashford had a stinker today. You can't wash it away with. But a lot of people have had a bad day today. No. And this is what Flex and myself were bringing up earlier on. This is what Flex and myself were bringing up earlier on. Is it's around the corner. We realized again that's around the corner. That's a problem. That is a massive, massive, massive problem. And we can't have Andre Onana pass the ball and just go, the rest of the team was a bit shit there, wouldn't they? So, can't really. No, it's on Onana. It is. Come on. Can't do that. But this is the full-time view. Members can call in and have their say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat. And of course, if you are a member and you want to call it, you can go over to the YouTube page, go over to the community tab. The link is there. Let me get these super chats out the way, and then we can get to our first call. HBK's Lazy Eye, what a name that is, says Rashford disgrace cheat. Curb Your Damn Enthusiasm says the way to be a good fan is to be angry all the time. Ibrahim says, I'm so pissed off. Get me on, Owen. I want to get this off my chest. And Nicholas Maxwell, big super chat this morning, says, like I said, it was just a purple patch. I don't have the basic skills needed. Right, let's get to these calls. Let's begin with Show. I saw you were in the chat this morning talking about Andre Onana. You were quite baffled by people defending him, saying he was unsellable. What are your thoughts on him, the game, all of it? Talk to me.
Well, to start with the Onana thing, it just reinforces my opinion of him. Like I said to you after the Forest game, it's not even just the Forest mistake. It's just how he's been since he's been at United. I just don't think he's United level. I don't like. Keepers make mistakes. The best keepers make mistakes. But my point is, you would never see the top elite keepers like Alisson's and the Courtois make the type of mistakes that Onana makes. Like I've seen Alisson make mistakes. I've seen Courtois make mistakes. They don't make the type of mistakes that he makes against Forest, where he just lies down and lets a shot go through the middle. I've never seen in my life Alisson do that. And Alisson wouldn't do that today, pass the ball out to a player just to square it for an empty net. Courtois doesn't do that either. So it's just, I don't know. We've become accustomed to, defending mediocrity, and I guess Onana's just the next one. We're going to defend until it becomes quite obvious that he's not good enough. And like to your point, I'm shocked Ineos have put him on the unsellable list. I don't get that, because there's plenty of keepers that are better than him. But that's the Onana point. I mean, as a team, the first half was shocking. I mean, we had 3 shots in the first half, 14 in the second. So, I mean, we were a lot better second half after the changes. But yeah, first half was a joke. First half was just embarrassing to watch. And but at least, yeah, second half we got the win that we needed. Hojlund came on, 2 good goals. I still don't think Hojlund's the answer full term. But if you ask me to choose right now who I want playing between Hojlund and Xerxes, ain't even a question for me. Because I've said from day one, I don't understand the Xerxes signing. He'll have, like Fleck said in the post-match, his post-match views, that he'll have good games. He had a good game against Everton, but I just think overall it's like, again, I'm pointing to what Fleck said, like, he's big for nothing. Like, I've never seen someone as big as him as poor holding up the ball. It's actually baffling to watch. It's like he's 6'5", right? Am I right in saying that?
I don't know the specific height, but very, very tall. And it's one of those ones where, like you say, tall, not great in the air, a big guy, but not particularly quick. You know what I mean? It's not power. You know what I mean? So you sort of go, well, what's the quality then, basically?
Yeah, but I've never seen someone like previously like that is as big as him. Like you watch big players. I mean, maybe someone like a Peter Crouch, but he was quite slim. But Xerxes is a big guy. You just think, I almost think if you interviewed him, I think he would say, I hate how big I am. He comes across like that. He comes across as like he wants to be 5'8". That's what he comes across as, because he wants to be this nimble footballer who plays as this, like, as if he wants to play a Musiala or something. But I'm like, use what you have. You're big. You're strong. Hold up the ball. Bring others into play. Like, basics for a hold-up striker, especially since you came to the club and announced, I'm this 9.5. I'm not here to score goals. Well, facilitate others then, please. You know what I mean? So I just look at him. People might say it's early, but I didn't like the signing to begin with. I don't think he's the required quality. We can talk about Rashford. I mean,
yeah, talk to me. I mean, I think with him starting tonight means probably doesn't start at the weekend, and he didn't do anything to convince Ruben Amorim otherwise anyway, did he?
I mean, I can't think of a single positive thing he did today. Like a positive action, just one bit of play I could point to and say, oh, that was quite good. I look at his pace. I can't remember the last time he beat a player for pace. Can't remember the last time he beat a player. Some of the tackles that he makes are just like lazy. It's just, I just think it's come to that point now. I mean, I think it came to that point a year and a half ago, where I just think that relationship between him and Manchester United is it's just gone. I just don't think there's anything there. I think for his sake, for his career, if he wants that one last big contract, he's 27 now. Like, if he wants that one last section of his career where he does something, he just needs to leave. I don't know. I don't know if that's January. I think that those reports are probably a bit far-fetched, but definitely in the summer, he's just got to go. Like, that relationship is just finished.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And just finally, the weekend.
Oh,
how you feel about that? I mean, you've got two teams that can't really do that much at the moment. I mean, City is still high up in the table, but they can't win a game. 1 in 10. You've got us, and we're just generally awful. So, what are you thinking about that?
I mean, look, the thing is, Owen, yeah, there's levels to shit. And as bad as City are, we're a lot worse. Because I always think of it as like, how does the opposition see us? And we might see City as there for the taking, because they are. But City are going to look at us and think, we're there for the taking. Because as much, I think of it as City's muscle memory with winning is a lot more recent than ours. They can at least point to some performances this season and think, I mean, they only just beat Forest recently where they were quite good, actually. But, I mean, our best performance recently is against Everton. So it's not the same level of opposition. So I just, when I see what I see today, I see what I saw against Forest, I'm just like, look, we can go to City and we can do something, of course. But, I mean, our Big Six away record is just absolutely horrendous. And I think the first goal is really important. I think if City score the first goal, I can see us crumbling because that's what we do in big games. But if we get the first goal, then it could quieten the City crowd and then we have a chance.
We'll see. Big up, Sher. Appreciate you calling in. As always, we've got over 900 people watching. We're just under 200 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner, a reminder, fan views will be coming out from Flex and KG inside UVHQ. The roller coaster of emotions that they were on during that whole thing was crazy. My favorite thing was, and this is what friends are for, yeah. Friends are there to calm you down and to say not to lose your head, only for the person who's calming you down to lose their head, like immediately afterwards. This is exactly what both Flex and KG did. So I'm sure sparks will continue to fly inside UVHQ, no doubt about that. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Connor. Connor, what did you make of what you saw this evening?
I think we need to. I think Onana needs to jump back in the time machine because he's playing like he's playing for us last season. He's not playing for us like he was playing for us this season. Because at the start of the season, he was probably on the best form we've seen him in. Like he looked good, and now he's going downhill again. I don't know what it is. I think it maybe just in Europe we have to like do a bit of rotation in Europe with the keepers. He can't go and play in Europe for us or something because he just is awful for us in Europe.
Yeah, not good. And look, when it comes to him, but then to be fair, the mistake he made was also in the Premier League at the weekend.
Oh yeah, no, like he's been awful, like recently. What was he thinking tonight though? Like when you look at his body, like positioning, he's not in a position to receive the ball. He's got his back, like he's facing our own goal. He's got multiple players around him. Onana can see that. Sure, Dillit might be aware they're around him, but he doesn't know how close they are if he's got his back to them. It was stupid, but I think it also needs to be thinking as well. Like talked about, most of the team tonight were shit. Like, like when you look at it, who can you really say out there who started for us played well in that first half? It wasn't until the changes came on that we started looking like we were actually taking the game seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's true.
Obviously, we have Mazraoui, Ahmad, I'd say to some extent Bruno and Malacia that looked okay, I suppose, when they started the game, but it was too much stupidity from like the likes of Xerxes, Rashford. Casemiro was okay at times. You know, he nearly got his ribs broken by Onana.
Yeah, he's back to doing that again. You know, it's that Onana as well. He's back to doing that when he comes out. He just wipes everyone out. And if it's not his own teammate, it's got to be a penalty. Like it's going to be a penalty every single time.
If he catches one of their players there, that's a penalty. Like, there's no way around it. He's given away a penalty there, and it's stupid. But I do not want to see Rashford start at the weekend against City. I thought last night I was saying I wanted to see Rashford start ahead of Garnacho. I want to see Mount start there instead of both of them. I think Mason Mount.
When Garnacho came on, he was still really wasteful, wasn't he? He was still just giving the ball away every time.
It's like when you watched, it was a 3-on-1. And Ahmad was on the right, Anthony was like thingy in the middle, and Garnacho was to the left. 3-on-1, running at their only defender. And what do? We waste a chance to make it 3-1 and bury the game. Then we keep giving away the ball stupidly. We've won the match, but it doesn't feel like a win. It just feels like we watched 90 minutes of rubbish, and it's going to take time for this team to learn the system, and it's going to take a lot of players leaving for this team to start playing well.
Yeah, no, it's true. And how are you feeling about City at the weekend? Has this done anything for any kind of positivity?
I was optimistic going into it. If we played well tonight, you know, we could probably take them at the weekend. I think we're both going to be awful this weekend, City and us, and I think we're going to probably lose, and City are going to go on a winning run then. I think United are going to lay up for City to go on a winning run if we play like we did tonight.
We're going to be the catalyst.
Yeah. you know, it's like Tottenham. They're the catalyst for like big, like when a small team's coming in on a losing run. You know, maybe it's their time. Yeah, Tottenham will give you the win. United, big team, there for the taking. Not been in great form. Only won one game in the past 10. Or United, reckon we can go get Nah, we won't. We'll lose it. That's what United are like.
Big up, Connor. I mean, you know what it is, yeah? It's funny, isn't it? Because I think everyone's right to this. Like, Connor's right, though. And he's like, we did win, but it don't feel like it, does it? Let's be honest. Like, it doesn't. I mean, you take a step back and fifth in the table, so we're into this automatic spaces and all that. But it is very much like, you know what's coming when you're going to face like a proper team. Like, we did kind of see it to an extent when we played like Arsenal and all that. But it's one of those ones where it's like, fuck, if we play like this, like, there's going to be, we think this is the storm. You know what I mean? We think this is the storm. Bloody hell. There could be more to come. By God. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to Amanor. Amanor, what did you make of what you saw this evening?
Evening, Owen. I regret. Well, I was going to go to the gym. I missed my gym class for this game, and I regret missing it because the first half was just like, we won, and I should be positive, Owen, but I just feel like there's more suffering to come. This is not going to get better, by the way. I know we're going to talk on the next game, etc. But in terms of performances, I think this is as good as it gets until the summer, really. Until he's had a few months instilling his style of play, and these players are just understanding that. But for me, it's not even tactics now. I'm looking at that game, especially the first half. I know we'll talk about the mistake, but there's certain players who just need to leave now. I mean, like, seriously, we need to be aggressively shouting them out of the club. I know I don't want to harass players, but honestly, people like Rashford need to go ASAP. Enough is enough, and we've seen to have sort of accepted players can get away with that. I saw him. I was focusing on him specifically on the first half when he was jogging. I don't know if you noticed, he was jogging in some instances when he lost the ball, when he tried to pass, it was half-hearted passes. Disgusting player.
Yeah, and I felt that he probably was the right decision not to get a second booking. But in Europe, go to ground and you're on a booking, they'll look to give it you. And it could have happened. And you're right. And I think that on the background, you would think, in the backdrop of these reports being out there, go, look, United, they'd be open to selling him 40 million. Wow, imagine that a couple of years ago, we'd said Marco Rashford, you sell him for 40 million. You got absolutely no chance. The fact that now we're looking tonight, you go, I don't know, 40 million, 40 million quid for that. Snap your hand off for it. It's just, I don't know. And then I think you're right, actually, there, Amanor. Is it a case where it's like, as long as Ruben Amorim's going to have to rotate, because he is, that means then he's going to have to play some of these players that aren't good enough, and it's going to lead to performances like that, essentially.
Yeah, because this is his preseason. This is his time to understand the players. What he should have done, if he had preseason, he would have known from his style of play which players will give me a good shift, who can play intensity players, and then play them. I'll start again. He would have known if he had a preseason who's his starting 11 is. He still doesn't know who his starting 11 is, or his starting 13, 14 players. So he's doing that now, and because of that, our next performance, especially in the next games in December and early Jan, will be like this. So be prepared for emotional damage, basically.
Yeah. What do you make of Xerxes as well this evening? Lots of people talking about him. We obviously scored against Everton, and people are like, oh, maybe this is the Xerxes. Started tonight. KG was getting very frustrated in the studio with him, as he has been a lot recently. Do you see anything there, or is it cause for concern?
It's a cause for concern, but I don't blame him in the sense that we should not have gone for a play like him. If we knew we were going for a striker, why did we go for number 9.5? You can't make a player. You can't turn somebody what they're not. And I agree with what Shaw was saying that before. Like, okay, you're not a potent scorer. At least do the basics right. I saw him make some silly passes that he could not make, and his first touch was horrendous. I thought he would become the Martial, and maybe he will through time. But I just don't think this fan base will have the patience for that. And we needed somebody to be challenging Rasmus as a number 9, and he's just not that. And what's even worse, I would go far to say he's nowhere near as technically as gifted as Martial was. Because maybe it's a bit unfair for me to compare him to Martial, but when Martial was his prime, he was very good at build-up play, linking up players, the close contact football, pass and move, etc. He's not that good either, and he hasn't got that pace. So I fear for him in the long term whether he'll survive under Amorim. He could be one of those players that I think he'll be gone, as with other players.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Indeed. Big up, Amanor. Appreciate you calling in as always. Nicholas Maxwell is also the latest member of the EV Members Club. Welcome to you. And I think Amanor actually does bring up a good point there in the sense of coming out of the last couple of games. And I kind of echo what Sho was saying earlier on with the sense of my belief that we still need more than just Rasmus Hojlund. And I think he does need support. And I do think we need maybe someone that's a bit more ready-made in the future. I worry for him again after this evening. Because he feels more on an island in terms of our only legitimate striking option than he did previously. We've seen Rashford play up front and we've gone absolutely no way. The reservations are there still about Joshua Zirkzee ability to play as the 9. Even he would say he's not a 9. And then we're going, all right, so our only striker again is Hojlund. And he's 21, 22. And, we need more options there because he can't... It's not fair on him to be like, come on, Rasmus, bail us out every single game. Man United, my goodness me, that is a cause for concern. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Mr. Adjacent. What are your thoughts on the game this evening?
What's going on, Owen? Yeah, too many thoughts, brother. Too many thoughts.
Yes, too many thoughts. What are they?
First off, I'm going to follow my coach. I'm going to focus on I'm going to focus on performance, not the results. I mean, it's a good result overall, but listen, Onana has to go. Onana, like, as I was watching that game, I'm just like, we have a keeper who can't complete a pass, Owen. We have a keeper who
good at distribution as well.
That giveaway. I was like, you can see the attacker behind the leg. You see him, and you say, and people are going to focus on the goal that he gave away, but the passes after. Those few passes that he gave right after that, just displaying it out of the back, were terrible. One moment he gave it to Lissandro, and there's an attacker right there. And next moment, he's the one supposed to see the oncoming attacker and distribute the ball, and he's making terrible decisions. And I'm like, we don't even have physical defenders as is. So it's like you're liable to just get the ball taken from you. And for me, it's just like he has to go, bro. He just has to go. I cannot I'm done with Onana. He's unsellable my foot, bro. I can never believe that. And for me, it's like a lot of people are going to focus on what's coming up for City. And I feel like Man City right now, they're going through an identity crisis themselves. And we're the perfect team. We're the perfect team to play when you're not sure of yourself and you need a confidence, because we don't know who we are. Right, you don't know what we're gonna play any given Sunday or any given weekend. So it's like, bro, it's so unfortunate that our coach has to see. Because I can imagine if I was him, I was pulling my hair because we couldn't play. Once we got past the halfway line, we didn't know what to do. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just like, Bruno, please do something. Then he'll give a special or he'll give a good pass. It's like it's ridiculous. The attacking options and attacking play that we have. It's probably one of the worst for me personally. It's one of the most frustrating matches I've watched in a long time, bro. A long time. I cannot.
I agree.
I was losing sleep.
I was going to sleep. And I was going to sleep in that game. I was going to sleep in that game. That was what that game was sending me, particularly in the first half. I mean,
I was like, this. I was tired. I'm tired. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what do you think of Rashford? Lots of people talking about Rashford as well. Is he? How far away from is he from starting games?
Owen, I kid you not. I went on Google for fun, and I was like, top highest paid players in the world. I think Rashford is top 30 in the whole world, and I was like, this man just came on, collected £300,000 a week to just do jogging, just do a cardio session for 60 minutes, and he's gone. That's it. I'm like, this. He's enjoying life. Rashford is enjoying life. He has the easiest job, I think, on the pitch because time in, time out, he's part of the starting 11. He gets his paycheck without fail, and it's like I don't know, like Manchester United, we cannot have. He's been here for what, 10 years, 9 years? I don't even know how long he's been here at this point, and it's like you cannot keep surviving regimes. You can't keep surviving this. You offer no value. Your salary can pay the team we're playing, right? Their whole starting salary, your salary alone. It doesn't make sense for us to play with this guy. I'm done, man. Like, oh, bro, it's unfortunate that there's only January that's coming up, in my opinion, because I think that Manchester United, we don't do much in January, but this January we have to do something. Like whatever we can get for him as pure profit, please let him go. Now, like wherever he needs to go, he should just go. He cannot be an option. He's not a 10. He's not a 9. He's nothing. He's just a waste of a salary. He's just a waste of a salary. Like that's what I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. Big up, Mr. Adjacent. I think it brings up a good point when it comes to Rashford. I don't think anything happens with him in January or anything like that. But come the summer, I mean, to be honest with you, when that report came out the other day and it was like, I remember seeing that £40 million. I went, £40 million. I mean, again, a couple of seasons ago, we'd have been like, bloody hell, £40 million, for the top players at United. But it just says a lot, doesn't it? It says a lot about Rashford, about United from a PSR point of view. It just says a lot about all of it. But my goodness me, it was bad. I tell you what, actually, this evening for him, I seen him play worse in the United shirt. No, and when I say worse, I mean just in terms of nothing, like literally just nothing, like just sheer walking around kind of thing. It wasn't there. Like it wasn't. And again, I go back to Ruben Amorim. He's got the job he's got on his hands. My goodness me. If he didn't know already, which he would have, then he knows now, certainly. Let's go to another call. Let's go to, before we actually go to our next call, we've got over 900 people watching, nearly 1,000. We're 7 away from 300. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get it to 500 likes. And let's go to our next call. Let's go to Chalaboy Comics. Well, you managed to make it through that one without falling asleep like me. Well, what do you make of it all?
Oh, that was that meme, CJ. Oh shit, here we go again. That's where we're at. At a certain point in the game, I started laughing because I saw the fourth official put up his board, and he took off number 51 to bring on number 80. And I was like, what the hell are these squad numbers? Like we played a team that didn't have an 8, that didn't have a 7, that didn't have a 9 or a 10 or a number 1. We were playing teams with 40s, 30s, 22s, and I was just like, what is going on? They brought up an 11 to bring on a 12. Who brings on a 12? Is there anyone who's a 12 that's not a goalkeeper?
And when you're having to focus on numerology as a sense of entertainment throughout a football match,
it's telling how the mighty have fallen. It's almost comical because it feels like there's a curse that we just have to live through, and eventually we'll see the sunshine on the other side. Because in terms of performance, that was awful for the most part. The subs changed the game quite a bit, but how can we be talking about change the game against Viktoria Plzeň? Like if we can't beat them with the team we listed, we're in serious trouble. I felt like, if we talk about, I know Onana has come up, right? His mistake was a terrible mistake, but at the same time, it was a dual mistake. I don't think De Ligt should get any sort of reprieve for that mistake because he wasn't brave. He didn't come short for the ball in order to, get the bounce pass to pass out to Mazraoui. I watched the thing again and I was like, he didn't want the ball. But a center back in that position has to be ready to receive the ball to play out. So that was a dual mistake from De Ligt and Onana. But with Onana, I've said it before that I see him as an outfield player with gloves, right? And when I say that, I don't mean it as an insult. I mean it that his disposition and his mentality is that of an outfield player and not a goalkeeper. I bet you Onana, like he strikes me as the guy who searches up assists, and through balls, instead of best saves. He's looking at best assist highlights, right? And he's fallen into a bad habit of feeling like oh, look, I can play with the ball. I can do all this with the ball. So he ends up attracting pressure for no reason when the simple ball or the simple options to circulate the player there. And as a result of holding the ball too long, of being, too overconfident in his ball playing abilities, he caused this whole, ruckus to happen. So it just wasn't good enough. I know also Xerxes has come up, and I feel like, personally, I don't want to be too critical of him, only because I've seen Evra and Vidic come to this club and be horrible for about 6 months, 7 months, and everyone's like, get them out of here. And then they turned out to be complete legends for the club. I'm not saying that that's the trajectory Xerxes on, but I just believe in giving players a little bit of time. If he's still playing like this, closer to the business end of this season and maybe at the start of next season, then I think we should have like serious conversations about him. But I think in terms of the investment we've made, at least give him this season to bed in. Overall, I think he's one of the most misfit players in terms of Amorim's system. Like, where is he going to play long term? So I'm just going to leave it up to Amorim to make the decision on whether he plays him or not. But I'm not going to pile in on him because I feel like he does have football ability. His main issue when it comes to hold up is he's not quite sure if he wants to hold the ball and trap it or if he wants to play one touch. So he ends up doing both at the same time, which ends up being neither at the same time. So overall, it just wasn't good enough. But as I am generally a positive guy, I just want to say Mazraoui, very, a stalwart of a player. Ahmad, I think, looked bright, even though his decision-making at times wasn't great in the 10, but I don't think that was a failed experiment at the 10. In actual fact, I would like to see Bruno and him in the 10, and then Ugarte and maybe Casemiro, or Ugarte and Meno in the middle, because I feel Bruno in the middle is a bit too risky for a team that, playing against City. But yeah, overall, it was just bad. So what can we do?
Yeah, it was just bad indeed. With Rasmus Hojlund, I kind of mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Do you, in a way, I mean, obviously, look, he's saved us tonight. He saved us against Bodo Glimt as well. He scored at the weekend too, even against Forest.
Right.
Is it a situation with him that, once again, even though technically we have other strikers under contract, he is actually still our only striker, and he's our person we're relying on for goals?
Yes, I think it shouldn't be the case, because even if we had one striker, which would be a problem, you still hope that your senior players in Bruno, Rashford, not senior player, but Ahmad, and these players, Mount, will contribute with goals in order to help the overall team performance. But in terms of the striker position, I do believe he's the clear number one. But I think, Erik ten Hag said it, and I think he foresaw this criticism, because he kept trying to almost cover his back, where he said, collectively, as a team and as an organization, we chose this direction to go with two young strikers in order to develop them through coaching. I don't think Erik ten Hag wanted a player on the profile of Xerxes. He was more so looking for a Kane or a ready-made striker. And I think if we harken back to a conversation we had last time, I said that I wanted a Muller type of player to come in to support Hojlund, because we can have him start most games, but still have a wise person who he can learn from and who can, share some of his minutes without necessarily being a threat to his overall number one position. But we chose this direction, so we're going to have to suffer through this direction. Xerxes has potential, but I think Hojlund's the clear number one. His finishing, his clinical is too strong of a word, but his conversion rate, his finishing is quite good. And if he just, again, I keep saying it, although people attack me for it, like today when he had the ball, passed by him, a top striker puts a toe on and scores. So he's always a little bit late to the party when it comes to, getting on the end of things. If he improves that aspect of his game, I think we'll have a proper striker to go for. But I think just in general, the squad depth in the attacking positions is quite poor. Like we had the 3v1, and it was Ahmad, I believe, Garnacho, and Hojlund. And all I could think about was, that used to be Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez. That's the quality.
Or if not, Berbatov, he might be in that.
Exactly. So we just don't have the overall attacking depth. But that's a decision the club chose to sort of go down. So I don't think we should blame Xerxes for not being good enough at the moment. Like I said, I'm going to give him time because that's all I can do as a United fan and just hope he improves. But yeah, Hojlund as our number one is pretty much the he has to start our big games always.
Yeah, indeed. Big up Chalaboy Comics. Appreciate you calling in. As always, regular member, long-time contributor to this show. I don't know if there's a full-time view he hasn't been on at this point. Only a couple. What are people saying here in the chat? Skilliano says squad depth in general is poor. What else are people saying here at the moment? Skilliano also says Hojlund is our best striker, but technically he's not good enough. Says is a version of Liam Delap. Starlord says there, smash a like on the like button. Nesta says we needed the win and yet people aren't happy. LOL weird. I would ask if you watched the game, Nesta, to response to that. And I would also again caution against a line of thinking that confuses criticism of performance with almost anger or not being happy that we won. I think every single Man United fan would watch the game this evening and be happy we won. Who isn't? We get back into that territory, don't we? Of like, you're not happy we won. We don't know what people think. That was the biggest bunch of bullshit towards the end of the Erik ten Hag era, by the way, is you're not happy we won. And it was like, what? I think most people will be happy we won this evening, but also you have to watch that game and go, that some of these players are just so bad. And it's kind of what Amanor was saying earlier on. It's going to be like this. I'm not sure with these players it's going to get any better. It's just going to be a case of getting through it till the time which you can move players on and bring new players in. I think, I think that's where we're at. But I don't think anyone's unhappy we won or anything like that. Again, I wouldn't confuse criticism with not being happy or anything along those lines. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Eminem. Eminem, what did you make of what you saw this evening?
Hey, good evening, Owen, man. Yeah, it was a rubbish game. It was the first half it's just exceptionally poor. There was nothing happening on the pitch. We weren't really linking up well. And obviously it was Rashford, Xerxes, and Dallo who were annoying me the most. Xerxes, he had some decent moments, especially like that solo run he made towards the right side of the goal, which shows that he can do something for us. So I know people are saying that he's not the player for us. I think it is still a bit early. I think he needs a season just to adjust. Next season, if he's still doing the same crap, then he's done. He's out. Dallo's not going to work for this Amorim system. I realized that. And yeah, he was one of the worst performers today as well. And in general, we needed some changes. We needed something off the bench. And at the end of the game, it felt like it became more transitional, something more what we've done under Erik, and that's how we created a lot more chances at that time, especially those like 3v1 scenarios, 2v1 scenarios. But yeah, I expected more from this game, especially because we had 4 days break in between rather than 3 days, 3 and 2 days in the last few games. But yeah, it was a crap game in general.
Yeah, crap game indeed. We're saved by Hojlund, and like you said, the changes do help things. Kind of what I was saying to Alanor earlier on, is this just going to basically be the case for Ruben Amorim, that as long as he has to rotate and some of these players are going to have to continue to play games, is it always going to be a case then? Like some of these performances are just going to be pretty shocking because some of these players just aren't it.
I think so. I think it's going to be like that until January. I think he's coming closer to what he wants on the pitch in terms of the main 11 and then having people rotate around them. I think my idea, what I just think is that by January is that he will have a better idea of who he wants on the pitch, and this rotating every other game is going to stop or is going to slow down. I don't think it's super helpful because people expect to play the next game and right now, so it's more like he's treating it as a preseason. He pretty much is. I think he's been given free reign by the board, like to just take this as a preseason start and then go on ahead. But Yeah, he is going to rotate, but I believe it might just slow down in January.
When it comes to a big mistake, a lot of people talking about Onana again, made a mistake against Forest, made a mistake this evening. The concern, I suppose, is that he makes mistakes in clusters as well. And we got the Manchester derby at the weekend too. We were talking about him this morning, and people saying that we were being harsh. What do you think about Andre Onana? Is he unsellable, as the reports claim, or can we do better?
I actually really like Onana. I think this season he's been much better, but back-to-back mistakes in 2 games, it's a bit of a worry sign for me. I think if this trend continues, he's not going to be unsellable. He's going to be sellable, and we probably can get someone better in the market than Onana. However, I do have a bit of a fear that a tap is slowly being opened right now with Onana, especially because the entire team is not playing in a good level. The levels has dropped. I mean, it's been down since with Eric as well. However, right now, since all the players are learning how to play in this Amorim system, Onana is the only constant who doesn't really need to change because he already plays out from the back. But him sort of cracking at this moment in time, it just feels a bit weird. And if it continues, he will be sold, and he should be sold, rightly so. But hopefully he goes back to his form that he was in the previous game, few games at the start of the season. But I still have a bit of faith in him. But I think he still has it, especially because he brings a bit of a leadership in the team, which I like. However, he still those mistakes could happen with any top keeper. I know Alisson has had those mistakes as well, but the mistake he made today was a very simple pass. Normally he could do them really well. However, he chose the wrong option, and it was similar to the one that he did in the Europa last season with Maguire, when Maguire got pretty much the blunt of the blame there.
Yeah, no, indeed. And just fine, I feel like every time I speak to you, I talk to you about Marcus Rashford. But I can't remember which game it was. It might have been the Arsenal one. And you were sort of saying, it's the problem is if that lack of effort continues from him, there's going to be a problem. Did you kind of see that continuation today from him? And is that a problem with all of these reports about his future?
Yeah. To be fair, from the reports coming out, I assumed it was more just rumors. But seeing the performance today, I felt like he's been told internally something as well, and his heart was not on the pitch at all. So I think there's 1% chance he could save his career at United, and by save it is by turning the burners on and actually performing and becoming a Amorim player. But there's 99% chance that he'll be going, and I think for him, he's been through 3 rebuilds with Jose, Oli, and Eric. I think he can't really do a 4th one, and I think that's clearly, we could see that on the pitch today. And I think he just needs a new environment. I think if he goes into a environment where the team is already built and the environment is already steady, I know people don't want him to go Arsenal, but I think if he went into the Arsenal team where the environment is consistent at the moment, he would perform. But I don't want him to go Arsenal. I want him to go somewhere else. But if he does go to a team where the environment's already there, where there's no rebuild going on, I think that'll be positive for him and beneficial for him mainly. And obviously for us, we can invest and get someone else. But it can't be. Obviously, I don't want Garnacho starting at the moment as left wing. I don't want him to be the guy. But there are options where we can see. I don't think they'll have the same output as Rashford does in his best seasons, like the 30 goal, the 20 goal seasons, but they can bring something else as a winger, because Rashford was a striker turned winger, where we could actually go out in the market and get an actual winger who was a winger from the academy days.
Yeah, indeed. Big up M&M. Appreciate you as always. Amanor says, how shit Dallo was today, and Onana gives me PTSD. Not gonna lie. Yeah, the Onana stuff is a concern. The Dallo stuff, he's meant to be better on the right-hand side. He's just so far off it. It's not good. And finally, let's try with the Manchkushner. Well, I mean, what even is that picture? What even is that?
It's we had to settle a very important debate. We had it during the free seats. Who would win in a fight between Stuart Little and Ratatouille?
I try. I mean, I try with him. I try. I thought we were going to get some top-notch analysis on the game. Well, I guess I'm curious. And who would win? No, he's not even. He's just laughing. It's just, you know what I mean? It just. I saw the picture. I thought, what's going on there? I saw the Manchester picture there, and I thought, okay. And then and he's just gone. No, he's just gone. He's just gone. Oh, that's the end of the show. We can't go any further than that, can we? We can't. And he didn't even say. Didn't I ask him who won? And then he's just laughing. He's like the Joker. He wants to watch the world fucking burn. Manchester, unbelievable. Anyway, click the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Fan views, player ratings, they're all coming from Flex and KG inside UVHQ. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. morning view. Tomorrow, what have we also got? Oh, Trinity. We've got the Trinity tomorrow. Trinity. Saturday, what have we got? We've got a preview. Oh, and a very special Flex and KG show. A very special Flex and KG show. And he didn't even realize you brought me back. He was just laughing. So that, all right, end the show. It's too much. Anyway, have a good one, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.